welcome to a fantasy video, I guess. This is my first one for fantasy. For those that are watching just because this is a fantasy video, I'm the Supercoach YouTuber. I've been doing that for a couple of years. I haven't played AFL Fantasy in about 10 years, I want to say, like ever since it moved to unlimited trade format. But George convinced me to chuck in a team this year. And I haven't done any videos on it, but I guess like I've been probably focusing on this a little bit more than Supercoach. So just going to give a team update. Middle of where are we? Middle of the year, basically, just before the buys. Just show where I'm at. I was tracking a little bit better earlier in the year, but like I'm in an okay spot at the moment. So yeah, just kind of go through the team. Some of the trades and the philosophy, some of the things I've learned so far, because I definitely have made mistakes so far. This team could have been better than what it is, but that's part of the learning for like picking up a game you haven't played in 10 years. And then maybe just talk through like buys and final targets, and we'll close off there. It's just going to be a bit of a chat really for 20-30 minutes for those that are interested, and for those that are my normal Supercoach YouTubers, don't worry, I'm not moving over codes or anything like that. Supercoach is still where the heart lives, but yeah, this has been fun during the year. Effectively, what I did with my starting team was pick a lot of the picks that I didn't think would work in Supercoach, and that's how I built this team. So I had like players that I missed in Supercoach, which have been good here, but like so much more impactful. So like Sicily 98, he's like round the top 6 for defenders. I don't even know how to check the full list. Stewart, Crisp, Doherty above him. Oh, Blitz is above. Nah, Blitz isn't. Sinclair is. What is it? Average points. So he can't be top 6. There's a few others of them, but he's been obviously a really good value selection. Where in Supercoach, he's like the #1 defender. So if I was to get it right in one game, it probably would have been better to get it right in Supercoach. But hey, got him here. Will Brodie, probably the best Supercoach pick of all time. Missed him in that format, but got him here. Just like, yeah, not a pick that I think would work out. But anyway. So yeah, I filled my team with Cripps and Hewitt, who I both missed in Supercoach, and are both really important. Hewitt's like a top 1 or 2 defender in that format as well. Yeah, so I missed all of them in Supercoach. I picked them all up in fantasy, and that's why my fantasy team's doing well. It's all the picks that I thought were just too risky for Supercoach I chucked in here. That was like a lot of the starting team. And then I think I just went one primo mid, like Brayshaw, and then I had Neil. Oh no, I had Took as like my premium starting mid, and then Brayshaw, Neil, Cripps, some mid prices like Rao, which didn't work out particularly well. But yeah, so yeah, I think like I've definitely played this a bit like a super coacher, in the sense that I have been holding basically every injury. So I held Cripps for his week, I held Hewitt for his. I didn't hold Whitfield or Bruce, actually. I don't know, maybe I'm evolving in this game. And I held English for 5 weeks, which, I mean, you thought it was going to be 3. And if you'd held him for 3 and then he came out with this like 132 and kept on going, you'd be like, that was a great 3-week hold. But as it is, it's probably not going to pass for the 5-week hold, but definitely glad to have him. I think other good pickups in this format was Darcy Cameron a few weeks back. I traded Butters to him. As it turns out, Butters has turned around his form a little bit. So Cameron, I think, has just outscored him basically each of the weeks, maybe like 30 net points, but has made a fair bit of money on Butters. Actually, what's Butters' money at? Because I got like, I think it was like 100k downgrading to him, which meant I could do another upgrade that week. Oh yeah, he's gone past him in money. So yeah, that's been like a lot of money that I made off that, even though the points haven't been huge. I would say like the other like big mistake I made early with this was probably over trading dead rookies. So I was pretty obsessed. I wouldn't say obsessed, but I did a lot of trades in the first couple of weeks to make sure I had 30 green dots. So doing stuff like trading in Sin and trading back out Sin, these types of things. And it's put my team in like pretty good cash generation spot. But I think if I had my time again, there's a couple of those I probably would have held for longer and then just focused on, swapping to different mid prices or fixing up different bits and pieces. But yeah, the team's getting pretty close to being finished. So I'm missing a defender at the moment. I think this is going to be Sinclair after his buys, who I'd like to put here. Obviously, Stewart's gone really strong, but you've missed his 2 big scores. Are there more of them coming? I'd like definitely for Supercoach. I don't know about for fantasy, but yeah, I think I can move like Sinclair in here and be pretty happy with that. For the mids, I think the big ones I'm missing are probably yeah, I've got 7 forwards at the moment. So missing Mills, that's a pretty big one. Laird is probably the other big one that I really want to target. But it's interesting because there's just like so many good midfield options in this game. Like Paris is obviously really good. Kelly's been good. Track has been good until this week, which is a little bit fortunate for me. I think about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I had the option of Petrarca or paying up for Oliver. I paid up for Oliver, and the first week that killed me because I captained Oliver, and that was the week I think Petrarca went 139 on the Eagles, and Oliver, what did he go? 91. But then, yeah, the 151 and the 107 from Clary the last 2 weeks has kind of made up for that since. So, and I'm still going to be able to pick up Petrarca cheap later if I wanted to, but not sure I will. I think for these last 2 spots, I'm probably looking at Merritt, who's what 790k, which is ridiculously cheap for someone that's been like a top 1 or 2 mid in this format from memory in the past. So yeah, I think we'll pick up Merritt. The interesting one, of course, is like Mitchell, but I don't think I can get to him this week. Otherwise, he'd be an interesting one to look at just because he's had most CBAs he's had for the year this round. And yeah, Laird is the one that I really want. His fixture's so soft. So yeah, I really think Laird's going to be quite a good option on the run home. He's also a little bit unique. Where's he at? 3.5%. Where Mills is, I think it's like 10 or 12%, and definitely more highly owned amongst the coaches towards the top end. So yeah, the goal for this obviously is to try and get at least top 100 for the hat. So I think going Laird over Mills on the run home is probably the move. And if something like Cripps continues to be poor, then maybe I trade him to Mills. Maybe some concern over Mills and his role, given what they did on the weekend. Although I don't think that's going to eventuate once Blakey's back. And to be honest, playing defense against Melbourne is probably a good thing. That's most of the opposition scores come in defense versus Melbourne. So yeah, I don't know. It's enough to like pause for concern. Parrish has been good. He's been racking up the stats a lot. He's been really good in Supercoach too. Like he's a top 5 player over there at the moment, which is interesting given all the criticism leveled at him at the moment. And then the rucks, so Gawn and Darcy. My rucks have been all over the spot. So I started Rob and Grundy, I'm pretty sure. And then got out of Rob for English, which was good until English went down. And like had Bruce at that point. So then went Bruce Grundy. When Grundy went down, moved him to Gawn. And then with Bruce being out, moved him to Darcy. Yeah, Darcy, like really good Supercoach option. So this it's like it's interesting because this is a 140 in Supercoach, a 141. So 97 here is still pretty good given that others went Wits for 20k more, and Wits scored worse, which was a little bit unfortunate. There just wasn't that many stoppages in that game, and the ones there were, Wits dominated. There just weren't that many stoppages. But yeah, it's really interesting because these rucks are like absolute premium options. Wits and Darcy probably the ruck 1 and 2 in Supercoach. But in this format where like hitouts to advantage don't go get you points or anything like that, or some of the contested work doesn't, then yeah, like they just don't pad their stats enough. But yeah, I'm happy with Darcy. I think like Gawn Darcy is probably the R1, R2. And I guess the question that you weigh up is like, is this R2 spot going to score more than whoever your F6 is? And I think so, because if it wasn't, then like having just English there would have been better. But I think I'd rather have Gawn Darcy here, English in the forward line, and then if I need to fix things up, I can. But Darcy should have made money last week, right? Like 20, 30k? Yeah, 22k. So at least he'll go up a little bit from when I traded him anyway. He's also a bit unique. What's Witt's ownership now? Because I assume that's where a lot of good coaches went to him. 15%, Darcy's 10%. Oh, how many held Bruce? It's like really weird to me because 23%. Wow, that's crazy to me. Because yeah, with this format, it seems to be that if even if it's a 2 week injury, you trade your primo in most situations. Um, 1 week is the thing where you hold. Two seems to be like on the cusp, but probably a trade, and three is definitely. And Bruce is at least missing two. I mean, I guess during like the first bye, it doesn't matter as much. Like I'm gonna have 22 playing this week. I'm pretty sure 21 or 22. Um, which is one of the advantages of like playing Supercoach and then coming to this format is because you already know how to buy plan and do all that stuff pretty well, and then making sure that having 9 trades that you can just use without having to worry about a trade cap or anything like that is really handy during the buys. So yeah, yeah, it's I don't know, holding Bruce seems weird. He's been scoring so well though. I can kind of see why. Like his average is more than Darcy so far, but Darcy obviously had a really slow start. Should come home pretty strong. And then forward line, so like Dunkley was an obvious pick. I think when I got English, he was a really good pick. It's just unfortunate with the injury and then the sickness. I can't remember where I picked him up along here. It might have been for the 107. I think it might have been for the North 107 because like Crows, Essendon, Port, like he's such a nice run here, and into the Eagles as well. So like he hasn't yet to drop below 100. That's nuts. We were looking at his stats, and he just does like a lot of everything. So in Supercoach, I'm sure it's the same in fantasy as well. It's definitely the same from what I've seen so far. It's really nice when your players have a spread of lots of different things. So they mark, they tackle, they get lots of touches. On the Supercoach side, you want to see them being contested rather than uncontested, but for here, it doesn't really matter as much. And so that's why players like Steele is really nice. Brayshaw is a little bit the same. Like they do a bunch of everything. Brayshaw's not contested enough, so it brings in inconsistency. But yeah, those mids are always really good because you just get this like nice floor. Plus, you have a ceiling. Mills, I think, is the best example of this. Like always doing everything. And English is probably the first example I've seen doing as a ruck. So he's hitting the scoreboard every week. He's getting over 20 hit outs every week. So it's just 20 points right off the back. He's had his lowest average mark game this week. The stats are in here, right? Yeah, so his lowest mark game of 4. This is actually one of his better tackle games, so maybe he's not tackling as much as I thought. He always has free kicks to his advantage as well. And then, yeah, like over 20 touches each week. Well, yeah, his season low is 20, which he's done twice, and then everything else is up. So it's just like really consistent, which I guess is why he's always hitting 100s at the moment. I'm sure you get some games dipping below that. But yeah, when I picked him up, I was really happy with that. I think it was a good call. Holding him for 5 weeks, maybe not so much. But if I traded him out, would I have had the confidence to bring him back in for last week for 132? Maybe not. Parker was also a really good pickup for me. So I got him, I think, for this 84 here. I picked him up in both formats. He's been really good in both. This 84 was unfortunate because that was the ankle knock game, and then he's been good since then. Yeah, really like watching Park play. I think he's a top 6 forward for here. Brody has been awesome as a cash cow. I don't think he's a keeper in this format. It's just this time on ground is not going to be enough, despite his crazy points per minute. Frio's good run of fixtures starts to ease up as well, and we saw, against Melbourne, even though they won, score wasn't as good there. He had 28 touches. Jeez, where did he score go wrong? Didn't hug as much. Yeah, it looks like a lot of his other games are funny. No goals. Yeah, I guess like not as many tackles or as many kicks. But he's a bit of a handball merchant. So yeah, I think he's going to be a trade out during the buys. Cogs, I held him, which is good because I got the reward with the 120 and a 108. I think he's probably keeper territory for now, probably more so than Will Brody or Cameron. And then, yeah, Cameron's been really good. I was a touch late on him. I think I picked him up for... Oh, no, maybe I wasn't. Maybe I got him for his 112 or his 90. But I've had him for a few weeks. He's made at least 100k for me. Yeah, really happy with that. Really happy with that. My bench is so-so. I mean, so Reef died for me early on. Cleary died this week, which I thought was really unfortunate. Oh, and what actually sucked this week? Can I go back in my last round? Yeah, so I could have taken him over Dacos and used him as my captain loophole too. But he ended up being the sub, so I had to bail out of that, which cost me 31 points in the end. Yeah, I made the wrong call on Clark versus McComb. Everything else was fine though. Oh, average. I project. It defaults to projected even though I don't have gold. That's like funny that it does that. Yeah. So Cleary being dead is unfortunate, I must say. He played really good for his 2 games, and I only needed him really to play last week and this week, so 2 more games, and he probably would have made enough money to be 300k, and I could swap him out pretty easily. But instead, he's at a very awkward price. Clark's been good, but everyone's got him. McComb's been good. I think he's a little bit more unique because McComb, Carroll, and Clark all came the same week, 18% owned. Carroll was the other one who has been okay for the year, but he was the sub. Came on, dropped a poor score. I probably need to trade him. I don't think he's playing during the buys anyway. I think he's getting dropped, so he's an easy one to move on. He's probably like close to the top of his cash gen anyway, just given what's in his rolling. Hayes has been all right. Given how my buys are set up, I'll probably not move him on until after the buys, which is a touch annoying to have that much money sitting on your bench, but he will be useful to get some scores out. Durden's been good, but last week was pretty poor, and that was without Jack Martin in the side. So, yeah, I think I just have to hold him just because he helps the buys a fair bit, although I would like to trade him out. And then CMAC was only ever a hold for the buys. I'll trade him out probably after them to help finish my side, but just expecting some like mid 40s from as ground cover. So buys this week, I've got Short out. I've got Hewitt out. But otherwise, well, it's actually weird looking at the averages. I'm not used to it. I'm used to looking at the gold. Sorry, I've got like I don't know if this is a OCD habit for a lot of players, but just like putting them in cash order. So yeah, I've got 5 out of 6 playing on the bench. It would be 6 out of 6, but Cleary is obviously out. Midfield, yeah, I really don't have anyone here. I don't have popular options like Parish or Kelly, Walsh, Chera. Don't really have any of these players in the midfield. So I can leave Reef on there, but let's be real, he's not playing. Oops. Oh, this is the one thing I don't like about this. For whatever reason, swapping around on this, just my computer does not like it. All right, we got it in the end. Let's make sure to move the captaincy off McComb. That'd be a bad mistake. So all 8 playing in the midfield. Both rucks are playing, so I'm only missing one so far. In the forward line, same situation. So full 6 out of 6. I've got 21 playing this week, which is good. The rest of my buys don't look too bad either. I think there are something like 16 playing in both at the moment. But I should be able to trade out players that are then available in the next couple to fix that up. In terms of like my plans, I think I'm going to triple downgrade this week as long as I can, as long as there's good rookies to do it. With the idea being that I then double upgrade the next 2 weeks, including fixing up Zorko, who was really bad on the weekend. I want to make sure I get rid of him. So I guess like the planned defense coming out of buys would be Dawson, Sicily, Sinclair instead of Zorko, Hewitt short, and then probably having a rookie that needs to be upgraded after the final week. The mids will be Oliver Neal, Brayshaw, Took, Cripps, McRae. Merritt is the target I'll get coming off his bye. So Merritt, Cripps, and then Laird after his bye, I think is the one I'm going to target. And just upgrade and underperform to Mills later on or something like that. If I have to, that'll be the potential correction. The rucks will stay as is. And then in the forward line, I've got Dunkley, Tim English, Parker. I've got Bont, who will come down here. I want Bailey Smith, and then probably Cornelio, and I'll trade out 2 of Will Brodie, Cameron, and Cogs to make some of the other trades have happened. So hopefully getting in 4 primos over the buys. We'll need just the 1 upgrade in defense to finish the team coming out of the buys, which should be okay. Like I should have enough money to do that. So yeah, this week's trades, I think it's going to be getting rid of Carroll because he's not going to play during the buys anyway. We'll get in Owens. Him playing next week for me is probably more important than anything else. And given he kicked 2 goals, tackled a lot, looked good to me anyway, I think there's a pretty good chance he's playing again. Funnily enough, I started him and then had to trade him out round 2. I think probably a lot of people in the same boat. But yeah, he's coming back. I started him in both formats as well. So yeah, what could have been? I mean, why weren't you doing this from round 1, Machito? And then who else is a dead rookie? So I think Cleary is one that I could get rid of this week. It sounds like McGuinness. I don't even know how to spell his name. I think it's Matt. There you go, Matt McGuinness. Oh, MCG. It's probably easy to remember given it's footy. Once again, I just want him to play this week and next week. He's basement priced. I could move Cleary on for him. Let's make these trades because I don't think it lets me do. I cannot trade a defender for a midfielder, but I'm not. Super coach, please. I mean, fantasy, please. This is one of the weirdest things about this. You make legal trades and it has a fit. All right, let's try again. Let's go Owens. Make that trade. I'm sure if I do this just one by one, it's going to work now, right? Yeah, okay. So this gives me 22 this week, which isn't really that good. I don't think like moving from 21 to 22 is actually going to help you scoring that much. But Cleary and Carroll probably aren't playing throughout the buys. And so the problem is this only leaves me with 151k. It's not like I've made a bunch of money here. So this could be Reef instead. I think the last trade I'll do is probably getting rid of Reef because once again, unless he's named this week, I don't think he's playing during the buys or during the middle week, which is when I need him, or last week, which is when I need him. So move him on. I think like the one that I would like to go is someone like Ware, even though he's 256k now, which is like a bit to pay, but there's at least some concern over his job security with like Whitfield returning and those types of things. So I don't think going him this week is a good choice. So we'll see if there's another debutant that I can get in this week. Otherwise, maybe it's going early on where I could do something like just fix up Zorko this week, but it stuffs up the rest of my trade plan. So I don't really want to do that. Oh, I could. To like Crisp, who I don't have. That's probably one that I need to have. Probably one of the better defenders that I have. But yeah, then this is the team. So I got one more trade. I've got 151k in the bank. I'm going to do one more downgrade. I think like getting Durden's money would be useful, but realistically, I probably need to play him through the buys. So getting rid of someone like Reef is going to be a little bit more important. Haven't fixed that up. Okay. Even on the benches, see, it's all got to be in money order. Otherwise, like, you're just not happy. Owens and Reef are the same. It's a side swap. That's so sad. Which I think is like, yeah, part of those mistakes of swapping these rookies around. Like, if I'd done Owens to Reef, which might have been my trade earlier in the year, it made me, 70k or whatever, and then I've got to use another trade to get them back. Just like, I think this is bad trading for fantasy. But yeah, that's the team. It's in a pretty good spot, I think. I've traded pretty well in this format. I started an okay team in this format. When I say traded okay, I think my premiums options have been good. I didn't trade that well to begin with, but I'm in a pretty good position where I can hopefully end up with at least 20 in each of the 3 buy rounds with this team. And we'll see this go up and hopefully be able to push for a top 100 on the run home. But yep, that's my fantasy team. That's some of my thoughts. These probably won't be regular videos, but depending on where I'm at and what's going on with the rest of the world, maybe I'll update post buys with how things are going. But yeah, hi to those fantasy players out there. If you can give me any advice on what trades I should be doing this week, like maybe I'm meant to be upgrading day costs to someone this week, or like, yeah, I should be moving Zorko on this week, whatever it is, let me know. Otherwise, yeah, I'll see you when I next do a fantasy video.